Hey everybody, it's Master Gallengeist here, bringing you my review of One Piece Collection 38. Yes, Queen there. Collection 38. This has episodes 917 to 940. So, this has been kind of more manageable for me, because this is like 24 episodes, and holy shit, I'm glad that I got through this, because the next collection will be out on the 25th of this month. So, this keeps off from what we had seen previously. Luffy, pretty much in this kind of prison scenario, linking up with Eustace Kid. We get the rest of the Straw Hats trying to still kind of wrangle up everything that's kind of going on in Wano. We get more of an understanding of Orochi and the Shogun of Wano, and how he kind of operates, other kind of characters, and their kind of linking history with what's going on, and teases of Kozuki Odin, and other kind of things as well. We also get a really cool Zoro fight that had a lot of good-ass animation in regards to, like, this assassin thing that was kind of going on. So, we pretty much start off actually with an episode kind of linking back up with stuff that's going on outside. With, like, Marie Joie, with the Revolutionary Army trying to get Kuma. We see that Peruna is doing stuff with, like, Mihawk, like, making food and shit like that, as we then learn in the paper that Gecko Moria is still alive and operational, and is pretty much, like, cracking out at Blackbeard's kind of base of operations, trying to get Absalom back because of his clear fruit. But we find out that Absalom is dead, and that the clear fruit has been given to one of Blackbeard's other captains, Shiryu. And it's like, oh shit. And Peruna then is leaving Mihawk, and they get a nice kind of, like, little moment and, like, telling her to be okay and everything like that. And she's like, you fucker! Because at first he wasn't really saying anything, and then she goes off to try and find Gecko Moria, who is in a lot of trouble because, like, Blackbeard's like, yeah, you can have fun, but stop doing your shit, asshole. Utilizing Whitebeard's devil fruit. But that's kind of where we leave that off. It's just more of a kind of like, oh, alright. We see that Dogstorm is clashing with Ashura, who's like, I'm not doing this shit. Fuck you all. Eat ass. As he's just pretty much doing his own shit with his, like, people. He's been very disillusioned after the 20 years. We see that Sanji is doing his kind of soba stand, which leads to, like, all different kind of crazy-ass shit. Let's see here. While Nami and Shinobu are pretty much utilizing, like, ninja kind of skills to kind of, like, go around and figure out what's going on with, like, weapons deals. We have a killer of Kamazo, and a thief stealing from nobles to give to the poor named Ushimitsu Kozo. Oh yeah, it was kind of funny that later on... Wait a minute, yeah. That we get, like, name drops of, like, the Shadow Clone Jutsu from Robin. Traffy being a nerd for Jerma because of Sanji having to utilize the raid suit. The Shinobu man killer hitting the nuts kind of bit. Oh, God. And then we learn some interesting stuff about Big Mom and Kaido. Because Big Mom is on the hunt for the Straw Hats and is coming to Wano. Kaido's like, no, fuck that noise. And attempts to pretty much send them back. Utilizing one of his other kind of, like, higher-ups, who pretty much kicks the ship. And then Big Mom falls overboard, and you're like, oh, God. And, oh, fuck. This isn't stupid. This is just bad. Because she washes up near Chopper, Otama, and Momonosuke, and she doesn't remember who she is. Chopper is rightfully fucking terrified. And it's like, let's just fucking leave here. Let's just fucking leave here. Otama was about to call her actual name, but then, like, Chopper's like, no. Olin is your name. Alright, and Momonosuke gets the Otama and Momonosuke get the bright idea to utilize Big Mom to break Luffy out of prison. This is gonna be bad. Because she's pretty much come to, take the Straw Hats out. And evidently, Big Mom and Kaido were on the same crew when they were younger, so it's like, okay, what's going on here? I'm very interested to learn what's going to be going on and happening with that. And I'm like, I know, I'm later and I'm getting my physical media and shit, but I am intrigued to see how that kind of works out. So she's like, alright, that's cool, but she's ravenously hungry because of being Big Mom. They take her to the one place where, Otama had her, special red bean kind of thing with the dumplings and all that, and Big Mom really likes that, and they, of course, offer that to her as recompense for helping them bust Luffy out. However, they never name-drop Luffy and instead call him, Big Bro and all that kind of shit, which I'm like, yeah, you better keep Luffy's name out of your mouth for the moment, as she pretty much decides, yeah, I'll help you, and calls friends with him and looks hungrily at Chopper all the time. And Chopper dancing around and being like, Oline, 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 kind of like Jolene. I'm like, now, that's in the dub. That would not really translate potentially probably the same way in Japanese, but I found it funny and I was like, oh shit. Okay, those are my big kind of notes on that. Really just kind of small kind of shit. Alright. Two lead performers, King and Queen. Yeah, King was the one that drop-kicked fucking Big Mom's shit. And they're trying to deal with what's going on, and, we're seeing the kind of power fighting that's kind of going on of who would take over from Big Mom. It's like, oh yeah, the oldest son is like, Katakuri would be the one. And it's like, that other son's like, oh shit. Yeah, let's see here. Well, as everything's kind of going on, let's kind of hit. I pretty much did all of Chopper's kind of stuff as they're pretty much going to pretty much the place. Sorry. Going to the place where Luffy's at and just kind of trekking as we're pretty much kind of in a holding pattern on that kind of front. We see stuff in the capital where Sanji pretty much gets set upon by a Yakuza kind of group that introduces them to Toko? Yes, Toko. Who is an attendant for the head Oiran prostitute, consort, courtesan. No, there's a hierarchy on this. More courtesan than prostitute. You'd probably be like, dude, there's no distinction. It's like, yes, there is. There's, your street prostitute, and then there's, the high-class prostitute. And it's like, there's a distinction. So, she's, the attendant, and Komurosaki. Let's see here. And while this is kind of going on, he kind of deals with them. Frankie also gets brought up into the kind of mix as well, pretty much suplexing a motherfucker. But we see that she's kind of late because she was in line for the soba, and that she's got this weird smile and laughs about a lot of stuff, even though she's kind of crying. It's like, what the fuck's kind of going on here? And it's not just a kind of sight gag. We get an illusion as everything kind of is going on that there is more to this that goes on because of the town of Ebisu. But the head madam, yes, the head madam of the courtesan house gets there, is like, hey, come on, and pretty much gets Robin as well because she wanted her soba, and the Yakuza people are like, fuck you, man, knocks her soba out, but there's enough that Sanji's able to kind of give it to her, and also stuff all the shit that the fucking Yakuza assholes fucking knocked over into the one dude. The one dude's like, ah, shit! He's like, yeah, you fuck? What do you think? Yeah, you might be like, oh, this dude, we should be able to kick his ass, and then he fucking kicks your ass. Don't be an asshole, don't get kicked. Kind of shit. So we see this procession that Komurosaki is this head kind of person, and Orochi is fucking wants her pretty much as his wife. And we see Orochi, and he is this fucking dipshit who is a paranoid asshole, though granted his paranoia is justified as there's a rebellion that is actually trying to take place. However, there's a lot of there's some twists and turns that happen with this that really kind of helps to put his ass on the back foot. It's He just goes to show that he really actually has no power, even though he's got like the fucking devil fruit and shit. It's just all the people think he's fucking stupid, and they just still go along with his ass. It's like all these sycophants and assholes, and you really see that as Robin's kind of going in there to try and ascertain other kind of information. Frankie's whole thing was attempting to get like Onigashima's like kind of like building plans, finds out that the dude fucking sold it. So then he's going to rigmarole, and we find out that somehow it ended up in Curry, where the base of operations of like Kinemon and the rest. The thing is, they are attempting to get Ashura to join them. However, it kind of backfires in that they pretty much like steal some shit from some people, pin it on his thief group, and then the fucking lion asshead General Hold'em pops up and like burns the fucking shit to their place. And then we see that like this sets him off as he tries to get to the town. This then links up with some other kind of stuff later on that we will get to. Luffy, however, oh shit, should I get to that? Sorry, I know it sounds like I'm going into some weird kind of places. However, everything kind of links together. Even there's just a fuck ton of shit kind of going on. If I talk about one, it then kind of bumps up against the other one, and then that's how I got to fucking here. I will end on that because that is where we ended on where this collection did. So going back to Luffy. So Luffy is in there, and I love his kind of like rivalry that's kind of going on with Eustace. Though they're trying to like do as much work to get as much food as possible. Where they do get a lot of food, and they're like, eat this shit. This sets this other dude off because that's my food. It's like, why are you eating the prisoner food, man? Are you just that much of an asshole? As we see this like hippo motherfucker. We also see this old man that Hio. We also see that Raizo is attempting to like get Luffy out as well, and that one of the kind of 9 main attendants, this Kappa motherfucker, is in the same prison as Luffy, and Raizo is attempting to save him as well. Caribou also pops back and was like, "Hey, how about we be friends?" He's like, "No," but then later on, Raizo kind of utilizes him as well. We also see that Koyoshiro, kind of higher up in the Yakuza kind of group, pretty much tells Queen to like send assassins after Sanji, which introduces a whole other kind of rigmarole. No. I already did that. What the fuck? No. 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 Hayo. Hayaguro the Flower. Former Yakuza head. This like little old man helps out with Luffy as well. Sorry, I was also seeing a lot of stuff because a lot of fucking stuff happened here. So he's helping this dude out, giving him some food and everything like that. Luffy shit, like good shit. Like he does not hoard shit. Like if he sees someone that needs food, I mean, he felt bad when Tama gave like the rice to him because that's all she had. And it's like, shit, that ain't right. And it's Luffy, man. So we see him utilizing this place actually kind of as a training kind of thing, trying to get stronger. And eventually pretty much getting to a point where like Queen pops in as well and pretty much forces Luffy into kind of like a death battle with him and Hayo. Eustace has somehow escaped, and it's funny that Raizo tried to get the Sea Stone Cuff kind of key, but they took that off, and Luffy's attempting to figure out how to do Rayleigh's whole kind of thing with Haki of hitting someone without hitting them physically. Hayo being able to kind of teach him a little bit of like how it's done in Wano. I mean, like, oh, Haki's named something different here, and pretty much shows him how to do it on some of the underlings. So Luffy's just kind of still in kind of training mode as Queen kind of watches on, and Raizo and Caribou kind of tell them what's kind of going on throughout all of Wano as Queen pretty much like has these collars on Luffy and Hayo that if they get knocked out of the ring, fucking heads are. Queen is an interesting one because he's also a fanboy of Kuromasaki, and when things kind of go downhill on there, he kind of starts losing his shit. Kind of was like, what the fuck's going on with you, man? You were really too much into this. While this dude's being kind of like a drunk asshole, so it's like, yeah, I don't think you got room to talk, you big fuck. Anyway, that's pretty much where Luffy's at still. Pretty much trying to figure out how to hit without hit. It's like, come on, Luffy, you got this shit. So, let us hit with Komurasaki. She pretty much is introduced as the big kind of head Oiran. We see her doing a procession down to Orochi's palace. We see these assholes try and kill her because of what she's done. And at first, it's presented that she is a complete and utter asshole. She has bilked these people out of their money and pretty much ruined their lives. And be like, oh, poor people. However, I'm like, something doesn't feel right here. All right, let's see how this kind of works out. My feeling on that was validated later on in this one. As we see her go there to Orochi's palace, we see Robin kind of trying to get some stuff and then almost gets set upon by these assholes ninjas, which is Orochi's kind of like secret police and everything, but she kind of gets help from Brook doing his ghost kind of powers to do that kind of stuff, Nami and Shinobu as well. But however, we see that Orochi is talking about the whole kind of thing, and we see that Tonko? Sorry, I keep saying Otama. Let's see here. Yeah, Toko starts laughing at him because of how much of a coward he is. Then he transforms into his like many-headed kind of snake dragon hydra form and is like attempting to kill her ass. However, Komurasaki slaps him and tells him to stop that kind of shit as Robin pretty much gets Toko out of there as well to save her. But then we see that the Kiyoshiro... Kiyoshiro? Yeah. Kiyoshiro kills her. It's like, whoa, shit. Orochi really didn't want that to happen. However, it pretty much would have been the only kind of way for him to save face. But there's probably some other kind of ways because he wanted to make her his wife. So he's pretty much despondent upon that, and the rest of his secret police are pretty much trying to figure out and see what's kind of going on throughout the whole thing. We've got assassins pretty much of like Drake. Well, not Drake. One Page? Yeah, I also have to get to that. Yeah, who's like destroying every kind of soba stand possible. And Trafalgar's pretty much like, you gotta buck the fuck out, man. You guys are compromised. Get the shit out. But then he decides to put on his raid suit and becomes Soba Mask and beats the shit out of the dude. It's a pretty good fight. It's interesting to see how Law nerds out about the Germa kind of suit. Drake does that as well in a bathhouse scene where Sanji learns that he can fucking turn invisible with the suit and decides to try and perv on ladies in the bathhouse. Incidentally enough, picking the one where Nico, Nami, and Shinobu are. Damn it, Sanji. Don't need to do that shit. But they're able to kind of like get out of there because everything's kind of bucking out. We see that Zoro gets turned on to nope. Oh, come on, where's this thing? Because we get this one thing where he pretty much gets like fucked over in this like gambling house, but then we see someone that looks kind of similar to Toko. Nope. Yeah, Tonoyasu. And he's like, alright, here, I'll take you to... And that's where we get to Ebisu, where we see all these people laughing and smiling throughout all this kind of stuff. They're all hungry and everything. Is like, if we wouldn't laugh, we'd cry. Pretty much making the unofficial base of operations. As at first, they kind of go to kind of like this snowy kind of place. That's where Zoro kind of like helps out later on and fights this pretty much serial killer motherfucker that's been sent after Komurasaki and Toko as they're kind of escaping. But we learn out it's like, how's she alive? What's kind of going on? We don't get the exact explanation of how she's alive at this point, but we learn out that she's Momonosuke's sister and that she's been planning this out. We see her relationship with the Kappa person that worked with Odin and tried to like help her out, feed her and all that kind of stuff. It's like, oh, okay, that's kind of interesting, because I had a feeling, I'm like, okay, there's got to be something here. And she's like really ecstatic and everything, trying to help him out as Zoro had that really badass fucking animated fight. And he's really wounded, and they kind of take care of him and everything. And Brooke kind of pops up like, what the fuck? Because they're all sleeping together for like warmth. Zoro's just kind of like zonked out for it, and Brooke's like, motherfucker kind of shit. But then they're kind of linking back up together, trying to learn what's kind of going on. Let's see. Yes. We see that things are going a little bit crazy because they get to Ebisu. We don't get Zoro in there yet, but Sanji, Nami, Shinobu, Trafalgar, they're learning that like a lot of the people of the resistance are getting rounded up. They have learned what's going on for the raid. Law's guys have been taken in. Shinobu questions that they would be able to withstand torture and everything, and this pisses Law off greatly. He's like, no, that's not my crew. That's not what's going on. Fuck you. We don't know what's going on here or how they're getting their information. But this then starts to escalate to a point where Toniyasu is captured, and we learn that he isn't just some weird asshole or whatnot, and he's also the father of Toko. And this is where shit starts to really kind of amp and ramp up. And that's also why Queen was like, oh god, Komurasaki. Hold on. Yeah, because Toniyasu's like, oh shit. Let's see here. Yeah. Yeah, and they pretty much had Hiyori, Momonosuke's sister, stay back, because that way it's like, okay, if we send them into the future, we just want to make sure the bloodline doesn't die out. Let's see. And that Komurasaki's asshole people actually deserved it. Hiyori's, they were doing rackets and shit like that. It's like, oh, fuck them. They were still welcomed, but they continue to act like assholes too. Let's see. Haki. Yeah. But of course, Toniyasu gets captured and claims to be Ujimitsu Kozo, and that's where we get pretty much the secret police pretty much telling Orochi about who he actually is. Yeah, Fukuru Rakuju tells him and that he's going to be sentenced to a public execution. And of course, this is freaking out Toko because that's her father, and she just starts running. So this is where it kind of starts like intersecting a little bit towards this kind of end game goal. Zoro and Hiyori are trying to like help and protect Toko of what's going on as she's running to try and save her father, and the rest of the Straw Hats are like, oh shit, we gotta do something here. And the craziness doesn't stop there. It's like we learn that Toniyasu is actually Yasui, the former daimyo of Hakume, and that we see that as he's pretty much being broadcast throughout Wano of what's going on, he decides to help his friends out, because this dovetails with Kinemon and Ashura and Dogstorm going into town and learning this stuff as well, learning that he's alive, but that he starts to try and save their plan. Pretty much saying that the plan and the people were a hoax, that it was all bullshit, while also changing it up. He's taking all this on himself to help his friends out for what's going on, and also shove the middle finger to Orochi as they start shooting at him, and Orochi pops up as well to shoot him as he's getting close, and we see that he, well, at least from what I saw, dies. And it's just really effective as it's kind of going down. And then we see that a lot of Ebisu's town has also chased up as well. And we see that they are laughing and crying at the same time. And Zora's like, what the fuck is wrong with them? But Hiyori is explaining what kind of goes on, because they're not... If they were robbed of showing any emotion except laughter because of the fruits known as smile. And I'm with Zoro on being fucking furious at these assholes of what they've done. So, yeah, that's the last episode that we get in this collection. And it's like, holy shit, we've learned a lot and seen a lot. I could definitely see how someone's like, okay, Luffy's kind of in a holding pattern, but we get him kind of acclimating to the prison, getting a new kind of friend that is linked up to the rebellion and to Odin, and to teach him more kind of effective techniques to go up against Kaido. This is how kind of those kind of things work, where he gets where you get a new kind of obstacle and have to learn some kind of new thing to go. Could it have been sped up or done a little bit faster? Sure, but there's a lot of fucking plate juggling in this. We got to learn who Orochi is, how he operates, and we effectively see this here. I mean, we've seen it before as it's been linked up and all that. However, now we see the man and how he operates, and how even after Yasui pretty much is like, yeah, it's bullshit. Even his own underlings are like, that paranoid fuck. We arrested all these people, and they ain't doing shit. Even though they are doing shit, it's like, fuck you, motherfucker. Kind of shit. It's like, okay, he has no real hold. He has no real power. The only thing probably keeping any of this in check is the threat of Kaido, which is how pretty much any kind of dictator works. If I've got a big enough stick and I threaten you with it, even if I'm a dumb shit-ass fuck who would probably stick 30 fucking forks in a light socket before I can even fucking sneeze. That's the thing. It's like, you have no power. You just the asshole, dude. And yeah, Kaido's a bigger asshole, but I mean, I think a lot of people could just crack that fuck out. So, that's Luffy's kind of bit. Zoro just kind of like wandering. It's funny. This is the one part where I would say that his wandering actually works, because it works within the trope of the wandering samurai kind of shit. But then he's like, I'm going to help people. I'm going to test myself. And then seeing what's been done to these people. Ooh. And then the rest of the Straw Hats are like, shit. Yeah, we might be doing this raid, but we have to do shit now. The people of Ebisu would probably be done as an example, and we kind of probably would need them. So it's going to be interesting to see how they kind of worked on that, because Orochi's there. They're pretty much at that public execution list. Like, fuck. Chopper, oh my god, I feel for that little man. Like, oh god. I swear to god, it's like being brought along, like, when your kid commits you to something. It's like, fuck, let's get out of here. Why? She might need help. It's like, yeah, she might need help. That motherfucker wants to eat me and shit. Like, the minute she comes back to herself, we all have problems. Okay? And I swear to God, I understand Chopper's anxiety and just like, oh God. That clenching of the asshole, that sphinctering of like, when she gonna burst? It's like, it's gonna be after Luffy. And the thing is, Queen was also eating the thing that like Big Mom was promised. So, but Luffy and Hyo ate all that shit to beat themselves up for the sumo inferno thing that they're going through. So hopefully there's some more, and hopefully Raizo is able to bop out the other Kappa dude of everything kind of going on. And it'll be interesting to see Koshiro how he's kind of mixing in this, because Hiyori surviving, he slashed her, made it look like she died. What's his game plan, and is he actually part of the rebellion? Or does he have different kind of motives and objectives himself, where he's working with the rebellion for other kind of ulterior motives? It could be that he's trying to get, like, the previous Hio out, or something like that. I don't know. We'll see. I'm like, okay, Wano, you got me on this. Pacing-wise, it really more kind of ramped up towards the end with Yasui and learning all that kind of stuff and seeing him heroically middle finger Orochi while trying to save the rebellion at the same time, and it just fucking sucked to see Kinemon and Dogstorm and Ashura being as affected as Toko as she loses her father. Fuck, man. And it was cool to see flashback scenes of Yasui working with Odin and how that kind of worked out. How Odin wanted to be more of a wanderer and go to the sea and stuff like that. It's like, fuck you, man, as they're kind of fighting and see their, like, height differences and stuff. I will be interested to learn more about Kozuki Odin and what kind of goes on with this. I could definitely see, I'm like, God, this is a big fucking arc. But I'm liking doing this in kind of manageable kind of chunks. Because otherwise it'd be like, I don't know where, like, I would have my demarcation points on certain kind of things. Like, I was lucky on the previous one where it's like, this is the close of this kind of act of the Wano arc. And it's like, okay, cool. There's like 197 of these motherfuckers, so, oh god. Am I going to stop? No, it's just, I like to take it, because otherwise I would have had to gloss over certain kind of things, potentially. Or I would have to go through episode by episode, and that would have been better to do when it was coming out and fresh. Whereas this, that would be a long thing, and sometimes wouldn't be as productive. Because sometimes there's just those kind of filler or pacing where it's like nothing really happens that much. Where you'd be like, I got really nothing to say, but we'll see what kind of happens on. It was interesting to see Sanji utilize the raid suit for Germa. I know of his kind of fucked up relationship with them, but it was a nice way of him being like, alright, he's put in a situation. Does he utilize this Germa tech that he was given to make sure that that the Straw Hats aren't noticed and to still help people? And he chose to do that. There we go. Good, Sanji. Good. Man. Still into it. Like, pacing problems, trying to get into fights and being like, okay, there's not a lot that happens in the front after we have to get through and be like, I just watch this shit. But that's me just watching this shit, not a week after trying to figure out what's kind of going on. So, yeah. Animation-wise, yeah, still into it. I know, I'm like almost 1,000. It's like, I hope you're into it if you're almost like into the 1,000 episode kind of arc. I'm like, yeah, I'm getting there. And Netflix is getting there too. They're getting the beginning of Whole Cake Island. Holy fucking shit. You'd think they kind of be going a little bit faster on whatever kind of rights are going on. However, in the wisdom of fucking monopolistic fuckertude, putting it all on Crunchyroll and having to be like two bigger kind of ones kind of fighting over the rights, I understand why it takes fucking longer anymore for that shit. Even though they both have Egghead at this point. I hate how it gets so kind of complicated on certain kind of things, but So, I'm liking this. If you're into Wano, I would think you would like it as well. I like the reveals and shit that's going on. Even though I get to a point where I can call certain kind of things, that doesn't mean that it sucks. It's all in how it's executed, and I like the execution, and I like being like, ooh, I got a feeling about this. And I was like, yeah, that's right. Yeah. So, let's see how this shit rolls. So those are my opinions on the collection. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. Also, like and subscribe, and I hope you have a good day.